Shari has reached a point in her life where peace is no longer negotiable. After everything she's been through, the betrayal, the public fallout, the friendships that turned into battles, and the judgment that followed, Melody has finally learned that sometimes the best way to protect your peace is by simply not showing up. When she recently spoke about why she avoids being in the same place with certain people, her words carried a quiet strength. It wasn't bitterness, it wasn't fear, it was wisdom. Melody has learned that not every space deserves her presence, and not every person deserves access to her energy. Over the years, we've watched her face conflict after conflict on Love and Marriage, Huntsville. From business meetings that turned into shouting matches to events that spiraled into chaos, Melody has been placed in situations where her boundaries were constantly tested. But now, she's no longer that woman who will tolerate disrespect for the sake of keeping peace on the surface. She's learned that peace doesn't come from pretending everything is okay, it comes from walking away from what disturbs your spirit. When Melody says she avoids certain people, she's not being petty. She's being protective. There's a difference between avoiding someone because you hate them, and avoiding someone because they drain your peace. She's seen what happens when she gives people the benefit of the doubt. They twist her kindness into weakness, and they use proximity to her as a way to stir more drama. Melody has realized that being in the same room as certain individuals is like reopening a wound she worked hard to heal. It's not easy, especially in a city like Huntsville, where social circles overlap and everyone seems connected in some way. Melody knows that sometimes, you can't avoid everyone forever. But she's intentional now. She's selective about her presence, her time, and her emotional availability. For her, it's not about holding grudges, it's about holding peace. And when she explained this recently, you could hear the calm in her voice. It wasn't anger. It was conviction. Melody has always been a strong woman, but her strength now looks different. It's not about clapping back or proving a point. It's about silence, distance, and discernment. She's no longer chasing closure from people who never respected her to begin with. She's learned that you don't have to confront everyone who wronged you. Sometimes the best closure is the space you create when you finally walk away and never look back. Many people have wondered what exactly Melody meant when she said she avoids being in the same place with certain people. Some thought it was about specific cast members, maybe Tisha, maybe Wanda, maybe even others who've crossed lines in the past. But Melody didn't name names, and that's part of her growth. She doesn't have to. The people who know, know. And the silence itself says everything. When you've been betrayed publicly and attacked by people who once smiled in your face, it changes you. You learn that forgiveness doesn't always mean reconnection. Melody can forgive, but she doesn't have to sit next to those who brought her pain. She doesn't owe anyone access just because they share a past. She's outgrown those cycles. She's outgrown fake peace. And most importantly, she's outgrown pretending she's okay around people who secretly celebrate her pain. There's a certain power in saying, "I'm not coming." Melody has embraced that power. She doesn't have to attend every event, every gathering, or every conversation just because she's invited. Being unavailable has become her form of self-care. And when you've been through the kind of chaos she's endured, public divorce, constant gossip, and betrayal from people you once called friends, peace becomes your most valuable possession. Melody's fans, the Millimeters, understand this version of her deeply. They've watched her evolve from being reactive to being reserved. They've seen her journey from tears to triumph. Now, when she speaks about protecting her peace, it resonates because it's real. It's not a slogan. It's survival. It's a lifestyle that comes from healing scars the world saw unfold in real time. What many people miss is how much emotional labor goes into simply existing in the same room with people who've disrespected you. Imagine sitting across from someone who spread lies about your marriage, who laughed at your pain, who tried to tear you down publicly, and then pretending everything is fine. Melody doesn't do that anymore. She refuses to participate in performances of peace that aren't real. She's talked before about the importance of energy, and that's exactly what this is about. Melody pays attention to energy now more than ever. She can feel when a space is filled with tension, jealousy, or fakeness, and she doesn't force herself to stay there. When she feels that shift, she chooses distance. That's what emotional maturity looks like, knowing when to leave the room, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Melody's avoidance isn't about isolation. It's about clarity. She's still social, still building her brand, still attending events, but she's careful. She surrounds herself with people who want to see her win, not people who pretend to. And in a reality TV environment like Love and Marriage, Huntsville, that kind of awareness is rare. The cameras may love conflict, but Melody doesn't live for chaos anymore. There's a quiet beauty in watching someone evolve like this. The old Melody might have confronted people directly, demanded explanations, or tried to make peace that wasn't meant to be. But the new Melody simply removes herself. She no longer announces her boundaries, she lives them. Her absence speaks louder than any words could. When she doesn't show up, that's her message. And that message has power. It tells people they no longer have access to her peace. It tells them they can't pull her back into old patterns. It tells them she's moved on and she's not coming back to that energy. Melody's restraint is strength. Her silence is strategy. Her distance is healing. This mindset didn't come overnight. It came after years of disappointment, of giving too many chances, of hoping people would change when they showed her who they really were. Melody's tolerance used to be her downfall, but now it's her wisdom. She sees people clearly now, and she responds with maturity instead of emotion. Some might say she's being cold or standoffish, but that's not it. Melody has simply learned that access to her is earned, not entitled. When she avoids being in the same place with certain people, she's not avoiding the truth, she's avoiding unnecessary pain. She's choosing not to let old wounds reopen just for the sake of appearances. Even in moments when she could confront or clap back, she doesn't. Because Melody understands something deeper, real peace doesn't come from proving your point. It comes from not needing to. The people who know her heart don't need explanations, and the people who misunderstand her wouldn't understand anyway. Melody's approach has inspired many women who've been through similar pain. She's showing that boundaries aren't about ego, they're about self-respect. You can forgive someone and still choose not to sit next to them. You can wish someone well and still protect your distance. You can outgrow someone without hating them. That's what Melody's doing. And if you followed her journey, you know she's had to face people who not only hurt her but also tried to rewrite the story to make her the villain. That's why her absence is so powerful, because it's her way of reclaiming her narrative. She no longer allows people to use her reactions as entertainment. She's taking control of her peace, one boundary at a time. Every time Melody speaks about her peace, it feels like she's reflecting on everything she's endured. The betrayals, the lies, the manipulation, all of it taught her to value stillness. The drama may swirl around her, but she doesn't move with it anymore. She's grounded, focused, and protective of her progress. She's also learned that sometimes God removes you from certain spaces to protect your purpose. And Melody understands that now. She's walking in her assignment, and not everyone can go where she's going. That's why her circle is smaller, her peace is stronger, and her boundaries are unshakable. When she says she avoids being around certain people, she's not being dramatic, she's being deliberate. She's prioritizing her emotional safety. Because peace isn't just about quiet, it's about alignment. And Melody refuses to be in spaces that disturb her spiritual balance. There's something incredibly mature about how she handles it now. No long explanations, no social media rants, no messy energy. Just distance. And that distance is her protection. It's how she keeps her spirit clean while others stay stuck in cycles of gossip and negativity. In the world of Love and Marriage, Huntsville, where drama is expected and confrontation is constant, Melody's calmness stands out even more. She's the proof that you don't have to shout to be strong. You don't have to argue to win. Sometimes, silence is the loudest move you can make. And that's exactly what she's doing, moving in silence, growing in peace, and shining without apology. Her avoidance isn't weakness, it's wisdom born from pain. She's no longer explaining herself to people who are committed to misunderstanding her. Melody's journey is one of transformation. She went from being surrounded by noise to finding peace in her own company. From being constantly attacked to standing firm in her truth. From trying to please everyone to only pleasing God and herself. That's what this new phase of her life is about, self-preservation, not self-isolation. When she speaks about peace now, it's not just words. It's her entire lifestyle. She's careful with who she shares her energy with. She's mindful about what she entertains. And she's intentional about where she shows up. That's growth. So when Melody says she avoids being in the same place with certain people, understand that it's not about arrogance, it's about awareness. She's aware of her triggers, aware of her purpose, and aware of who truly supports her. She's protecting that awareness at all costs. And as she continues to move forward, her peace will only grow stronger. Because once you've tasted peace after years of chaos, you never want to go back. Melody has found that peace, and she's holding on to it like her life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. The world may not always understand her choices, but they don't need to. Melody doesn't owe explanations. Her life, her peace, and her happiness speak for themselves. She's showing everyone that peace isn't passive, it's powerful. And that's the lesson she's leaving us with. You don't have to sit where your spirit feels heavy. You don't have to share space with people who bring confusion. You don't have to prove your strength by staying in places that hurt you. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away and stay away. That's exactly what Melody's doing now. She's walking in peace, moving in purpose, and keeping her distance from anything that disturbs either. Her silence isn't empty, it's full of strength, grace, and clarity. And no matter what others may say, she's at peace, and that's something no one can take away from her.